Hey, good morning and welcome. Trade war, currency war, to manipulate or not manipulate. That is the question. I'm Joe Jaquin, and I've got the answers. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at www. Remember when you used to do that? When the internet first came out? www.allamericangold.com. Got everything up. We got the shopping cart up there. We got the information on the metals plan up there, all the news and articles and videos. You spend half the day out there getting what you need to know out there. And, man, really think about it, what a last couple of months. We were back in April. The trade deal was done and everything was great, and interest rates were rising, the economy, 3% and all that stuff. And fast forward to today, and the trade war is now a currency war. The economy is slowing, and everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else. Everybody's shooting somebody somewhere. Hong Kong's on fire now, all this stuff. And it's funny because yesterday the Dow was down big, right? 760 some odd points. And, you had the talking, percentage-wise it wasn't that bad. We've had worse days than that, and we have. They're not wrong. I mean, should we panic? No, you should never panic, right? Panic should never be. If you're truly prepared, there's no need to panic, right? Yesterday, if you had a lot of gold, you're a pretty happy guy. Matter of fact, you're happy again today because guess what? It's up again today, another new 6-year high last night. So, things happen quick. So, last week on Wednesday, we had the rate cut, and then the dreadful performance by Jay Powell. Really, a fireable offense, in my opinion. I mean, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But, don't worry because he's untouchable. Just ask all the other Fed chiefs. They'll tell you, right? That was on Wednesday. On Thursday, the president announces new tariffs on $300 billion of Chinese products, right? Then you fast forward, the Chinese respond, right? Hey, you know what? We're not going to buy any agricultural products, right? And that's over. And then yesterday, their currency rose above 7 renminbi to the dollar. And everybody flipped out. And last night, the Treasury Secretary, on behalf of the president, named China a currency manipulator. And if you were paying attention to the markets early last night, like 5, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, Pacific Time, Arizona Time, in that time frame, Dow futures were down 500-600 points. Gold was up $10, kind of 1475. Right now it's at 1470. And everybody was flipping out again. And then when the Chinese market opened, everybody was waiting to see where the Chinese were going to set the price for the renminbi. And they set it right where it was at. Didn't let it go, didn't let it appreciate or depreciate, I should say, more than it did yesterday. And that got everybody a little bit of relief. Not a lot, but a little. The Dow, after being down over 700 points yesterday, right now it's up 100. But it's been, the Dow's been whipsawing around. We'll have to see how it closes. But is China really a currency manipulator? Now, there's 3 things that can get you labeled, 3 criteria to it. 1, you got to run big trade surpluses, right? They check that box, right? They absolutely check that box. And trade imbalance, another box they checked. And then the last one is, are they a buyer of their own currency. And yesterday, here's what was so ironic about the announcement of them being a manipulator. The reason why the renminbi broke above 7 was because China didn't step in. In other words, China let the market decide what the renminbi was going to be instead of supporting it, right? So today, the Chinese stepped in to support it a little bit, but kind of an interesting, not quite what we thought, right? And I'll say this, if China does not support the renminbi, in other words, they let the market decide where it should be. Which you kind of think about, hey, capitalism and all this, right? Hey, let the markets decide. The renminbi's not going to be 7 to the dollar. It's not going to be 8 to the dollar. It's not going to be 9 to the dollar. My guess is it'd probably be somewhere between 9 and 10 to the dollar. So the Chinese government, it's not they manipulate it, but not the way you would have thought. They're actually the ones that are supporting the renminbi to actually be stronger. It's when they take that support away that they're manipulating the currency. Just thought I'd little education for you all out there. Patriot Radio News Hour. Got a great show lined up for you. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. And again, man, we have ran so many great specials lately. Today, without exception, another fantastic one. My guess is this is the best price in the country. 1 ounce American Gold Eagles at $1,500. Right now, that's just under less than $30 over spot for 1 ounce American Gold Eagles at 800-951-0592. And we're talking about currency manipulation. But it's really the opposite of what you would think, right? You're thinking, oh, hey, the Chinese are deliberately making their currency weaker. What they really did was make their currency stronger by supporting it. But they, in fairness, it is true, they are pulling their support, which is now causing the currency to weaken. But what does it mean? Like, what happens now? Okay, you're a currency manipulator. What are we going to do? I mean, we're already tariffing all the stuff they sell us. Well, you had to do a little digging. The relevant portion of Section 3004, I'm not making this up, Section 3004 in the Omnibus Trade and Competitiveness Act of 1988. You got to dig through the archives to find out, what does it mean? Well, guess what, folks? I know you're like, man, what are we going to do? We're going to drop bombs on them. We're going to put an embargo on them. I mean, what? We're going to stop selling them everything? No. Apparently, what it means is that the Secretary of the Treasury will take immediate action to initiate negotiations with the Chinese? Well, maybe it's the Europeans. Nope. How about the Japanese? Canada, Mexico? No. They're going to go talk to the IMF. Yep, see? They're going to go to the IMF and they're going to tell the principal, China's not playing fair with us. You make them stop it. So there you go. There's the big punishment in case you wanted to know. And you can find it under Section 701 if you want to take the time to look it up. I wouldn't. Speaking of looking it up.
Hey!
How
you doing, man? Listen, great show you got going here. I got to throw my 2 cents worth in. Yeah, Clinton designated the Chinese currency manipulator.
Correct, 25 years ago.
Which is, it's like yelling at the reporting to the teacher. So what's interesting is North Korea didn't care, or China didn't care, but they had North Korea fire 2 missiles this morning. And if you don't think those two events aren't related, you need to flush out your headgear, new guy. So, I mean,
cue the deer. I mean, Kim Jong-un, go.
Right. So, what are you going to do about it? Well, watch this. Just to remind you that we have this little pit bull, the Rocket Man over there. So now somehow we've gone from touchy-feely, huggy, love everybody, China loves us, North Korea loves us, everybody loves us, to apparently they hate us. But this goes back to a shortwave show that crackled through the night a quarter century ago. And a lot of you people listening, they're still here. I mean, it is amazing.
Well, there's a few less of them.
But this is when NAFTA was being put in, Mickey Cantor, Madeleine Albright.
The NAFTA-matics.
Right, the NAFTA-matics. So, we all got to thinking, going, well, and nobody cared. When they gave away the intellectual property, guess what? They want it back. And that was the point we made. We are going to want this back someday. But if you know your history, that it's the economic wars that trigger the military wars. And I don't believe that's a war we could win. So I've been listening to you. You're doing a great job talking about, the Chinese laundry boy, just the humble, underdog, just humble, quiet. We don't know anything, not very smart. And this is how they negotiate over there. Make no mistake about it. So, and they don't care. If their citizens want to go on an uprise, fine.
Go ahead.
Have a nice day. We're not worried about being reelected. You understand? So they're already dealing with these problems. But then again, on the other side, you got Hong Kong. You got them going crazy over there. And you got to go back again to a shortwave show a quarter century ago where Bill Clinton put in the policy of Hong Kong at all costs. And that's a direct quote. So
I did not see. You learn something every day.
Yep, that was the official government policy. That was their news, their press. So I don't know. Now we talked about. I was on 10 days ago or so. The perfect storm for gold. How do you like it so far? Now, ultimately, the economic engine in this country, the debt-ridden economic engine, has fired up again because. You couldn't go down to the bank 10 years ago. I couldn't go down to the bank and refinance my house 10 years ago. All right? I owned a business for 20 years. I had the money to pay off the house. But would they refinance it? No. Today, the credit cards are coming in. My dog's pre-approved.
Hey, all right.
Right. I mean,
I'm waiting. My dogs are still waiting for theirs.
Right. It's all started again. The economic debt machine is running. So
but they're only like 10 in dog years, so they got another six more months to go or
now,
so.
See, that's funny. So when you get a 30-year mortgage for your dog, but it goes 1 year is 7. That mortgage goes by pretty quick. So I like that. So this is all fired up again. Now, once again, the golf courses are busy in Arizona. The restaurants are busy again. The refinance miracle. The marinas are full. The boats are out there. We're having another, everybody's drinking the punch. What's interesting is we talked about the perfect storm that's happening economically and for gold, believe it or not, has nothing to do with the equity market crashing. It doesn't. What it has to do with is the simple fact the liberals sold all their stock. They sold it all the day Trump got elected. Now, we all have liberal friends, okay? I'll talk about Mark, my golf buddy.
Right.
A head of the HR department at a gigantic plastics company, This guy used to tell me, when I used to tell him to buy gold, he's like, you're an idiot. You don't buy gold, you buy stocks. Everybody knows that. And you're going to get gold, you get gold stocks. Well, the minute Trump got elected, remember, it's going to crash the markets. The liberals sold out. They're out. The conservatives held on, obviously. So now what's happened is the liberals have missed the huge stock market Trump run. I mean, they've missed it. So when you get Goldman Sachs coming out doing a gold show, okay, which is what they've been doing.
J.P. Morgan did it today.
Them too. They have missed the run, okay? They are doing all they can. I mean, if you go back and go back 25 years ago again, this is why I can't want to sit down, and replace Patriot Trading Group with Goldman Sachs, it's the same program. This is what they're telling the liberals. So the liberals are buying gold. The Federal Reserve, okay, which interest rates, they can't sell anything. Okay, you can't sell anything. What killed the great economic engine, the car market, the car dealers were murdered because they couldn't do 0% financing because of the, what was it, a 1.25% rate hike, or how far did they take?
We got to 2.25% to 2.5%.
Yeah, but how much did they raise it? So
they've raised it 8 times. Well,
okay,
they raised it a total of 8 times right now because it was 9 minus 1.
So it got to the point where even the fake 0%, you know.
Right.
So when the interest rates are low enough, okay, the car dealers can go, well, we'll give you 0%, but they just buy the rate down, and it's factored in the deal. You just pay more for the car.
Yeah, when the 10-year note got to 3.25%, they couldn't do it. Now, of course, the 10-year note's back to what, 1.7 now.
I saw 1.75 early this morning, but it did hit 1.7. Least I remind you, ladies and Germans, that at 1.70. Gold was 1,900 when I was sitting here doing the show with Joe. And that wasn't, you don't got to go back a quarter century. So that was 2011. So the economic cycles are becoming faster, shorter, and much sharper. But I believe in my heart of hearts, with the perfect storm, that the liberals are not going to have anything to point at. The machines can run the equity markets. They can run them. So what you witness day to day, Dow, if you believe it, great. And, you know, they have realized that people, even to this day, you have the lowest participation in the stock market through the public than ever in history.
Trading volumes are nothing, and if you took out buybacks, it would really be nothing.
But it's the Dow Jones that makes everybody feel happy. And they know that they can run that, and Trump knows how to run that. I would look for the Dow to be well over 30,000 come election. Now, the liberals won't have anything to point at economically. They can't impeach him. He's getting away with everything. The China war, the trade war, if you watch it on Fox, is like, hey, nobody's paying except the Chinese. When you watch it on CNN, they're like, oh, my God, buy gold immediately. Inflation is running out of hand.
By the way, these gold eagles are LBGQT certified.
Yeah, you have to do that now. Right,
yeah,
right.
They have no position about anything on anything whatsoever.
You know what? I don't think, though, really, that it's fair to genderize them as gold.
Can't we? Yes, I don't want to do that. This is a non-gender. This is a gender-neutral
right coin disc. Yes. Because, you know, Bitcoin might get upset. You got to be really careful about this. So, yes, get your discs. Now, eagles, is a female eagle like a goose, gander, a hen, you know? Is an eagle a male? Is there is it different? See?
Well, you know what? Maybe the male's on the tails, but the head is a female.
Okay.
That should help the liberals.
So there's not a female eagle.
It's the head lady in charge. On the backside, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I don't know either. So you really got to be careful with this. They'll shut you down. So there'll be lines of people going, it's not fair to classify. Let me see. Male, you know, the great thing, we didn't have this, years ago. We didn't have the internet when we started.
To be able to go www.
No, I could just go female eagle. So I guess maybe the bald eagle, kind of like Joe. No.
Oh, boy. I really
maybe the female eagles have hair on them.
I don't know. This. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd be totally bald. But shaving my head, every couple of days, I don't have that in me.
Well, I don't know. So there's bucks and sows. I don't know. Yeah,
I see you're wearing a racist shirt.
I got my American flag on.
It's an American flag.
My back here, ATD, auto mechanics, excellent people. Fine, great patriots. Great shop. If you're local here and you're looking for an honest mechanic shop, they've been here since we moved in. Great people. So I had my Jeep service there a couple of weeks ago, and he put a Trump 2020 sticker, just a little square one, on the back of my Jeep window. And I was at the golf course this weekend. Now I'm retired. I can do all this. And someone had written into the dirt on my back window. F you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm walking. It's written all over. I'm like, what did I do?
What did I do?
So, I'm old. I'm getting old. I go, well, I'm between the lines parking. I didn't take 2 parking spaces, and I'm walking around. I'm like, huh. And then all of a sudden, there it was, a little 3-inch, tiny. You can't see it.
See, now 3 inches for a regular person is normal size. For you older folks, that's tiny microscopic.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't see it. I had to get my face like 2 inches from it. And I'm like, Trump 2020. I'm like, how did this get on here? Now, I know better than to do that. I mean, you got to stand for things. But I had put an impeach Clinton sticker on my Suburban and came back and literally had a broken window.
Yes, a broken window and a multitude of one-gun salutes as you were driving down the freeway.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, you're listening to The Blind Leading the Stupid. Thank God the Cisco kids ride again. We'll be back after these messages. Hang in there if you can take it.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative perspective since 1983, continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Today is the anniversary of the dropping of the atom bomb on Hiroshima. For years, the left wing has carried on a drumbeat campaign to convince people who don't remember World War II that Americans have guilt on our hands for dropping the bomb. Left-wing historians argue that dropping the bomb was unnecessary to winning the war because Japan was ready to surrender anyway. These left-wing historians have worked hard and written extensively to undercut the U.S. moral position. However, recent research into Japanese documents confirms that it was absolutely necessary to drop both the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs because the Japanese military was determined to keep the war going, even if it meant, as a Navy official urged at one meeting, sacrificing 20 million Japanese lives. The Japanese military ferociously resisted surrender, even after the 2 atomic bombings, even after Soviet entry into the war, even when it expected the U.S. to drop a 3rd bomb on Tokyo. Japanese historians in Kyoto have now discovered the documents that prove the Japanese military was steadfastly refusing to give up. The atomic bombings broke this political stalemate. Japan's chief cabinet secretary in 1975 said, "The atomic bomb was a golden opportunity given by heaven for Japan to end the war. Without both the atomic bombings, Japan would have continued fighting, and that would have meant more firebombing of Japanese cities and a ground invasion by U.S. troops that would have cost millions of deaths." Hiroshima was the chief argument in the hands of the Japanese peace faction to force the Japanese military to agree to surrender. One of Emperor Hirohito's closest aides is quoted as saying, "We of the Peace Party were assisted by the atomic bomb in our endeavor to end the war." Yes, Hiroshima incinerated many people, but the wartime alternatives were worse. Thank you, President Truman, for making the wise decision.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report with Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. If you're busy taking notes, you can stop now, because these commentaries in written form and spoken audio are archived on the website, phyllisschlafly.com. Many recorded by Mrs. Schlafly herself. If you're doing research or missed a day, just go to phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening and re-listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Hey, you're listening to the Invisible Empire, the Patriot Radio News Hour. How you doing? I get to have to come on every now and then just to, it's kind of like the old Jimmy Buffett song, when they were poor, they had to shoplift to eat. So now that he's rich, every now and then he'll steal something. Just because you never know, when you're going to have it. So
listen, don't lie. You got lost, and you forgot why you were even here.
I know. I was trying to get my truck
you thought,
serviced.
We got a show. I got to do a show.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on out there. So, I got to tell you, I've lived a long time in this world, and hopefully I got a long way to go. But you see on the television on, the images of people throwing water on the police.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen anything like that?
Never. disgusting.
And the police can't do anything. The mayor doesn't want them to do anything. They just show these guys dropping their heads and walking away.
Yeah, the police literally are, hats off to them, because I couldn't do it.
No.
I couldn't do it.
If you threw, I got to tell you, anybody knows. You throw anything at a cop, you ever see the Chris Rock, what not to do when you get pulled over? That's kind of one of them. Okay, don't throw anything at them. Water, you'd get thumped. And rightly so.
Absolutely. And nobody would have thought twice about it.
No.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Right.
They got a job to do, man.
It's all it's de Blasio. It's the liberal mentality. Law and order is slowly disappearing. And, you mentioned it before. This is revolution. That's a word nobody wants to hear, but it's coming.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see, and I'd said it doing radio here earlier this year, that we're going to see the cities burn around election time. There's going to be mass demonstrations and riots that are going to make 1960s look like child's play. So just get ready. Do you see it going any other way? You see it going any other way. Now, I don't know who's going to emerge out of the Dumbo drop on the Democrat side.
That's the one saving grace in all of this is they have such terrible candidates.
It's just miserable. So, but again, just because you travel, a lot of, when I told Joe that Obama was going to get reelected, he looked at me like, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely thought you were out of your mind.
But it happens. And, when you travel in conservative circles, you think conservative, and you think the rest of the country thinks like you. Now, the same thing, Hollywood, when you travel in Hollywood and you're in mansions and you've got nothing but money, I ran into a gal that my wife rented a house to who's a 1%er. It was a divorce situation. No, it was a death situation. Her husband passed away. She's in a brand new Bentley convertible. While they're settling the estates, she had to rent an $8,000 a month home. Okay,
poor thing.
And I felt bad for her. It really is a tragedy. But I got to sit with her at a political open house. Teeters. They always do. I forget what it was. We were watching some election results, and I got to talking with her, and she said to me, she goes, Once people clear their first 10 million, they become liberal. That's what she said to me. And I go, well, what do you mean? She goes, well, they have to, as tax structure, they have to donate X amount of it, and shelter. And
I guess I'm going to be a conservative for the
forever.
rest of
I know. So she said that to me in passing, once they get past 10 million, they all become liberal. I'm like, well, it makes sense. So now in Hollywood, same thing. So they travel. They think people want to hear, at the Hollywood speeches, they think that people want to hear hear their president, run down and denigrated on television. We don't, all right? The country's as divided as it's ever been, and then you get to the Electoral College. You had the gal on, Glenn had her on.
Miss Constitution.
Yeah, so I'm not working. I'm just been working out every morning. So now I get to listen to the American Freedom Network. And I listen to her about the misnomers and misconceptions about the Electoral College, but why it was put into place. And then you have the not legislation, but the ideas being bannered around to get rid of it. Liberals want to get rid of it. But it was put in for a reason. It's in there, so you can't just go in and go to all the big towns and offer everybody a check if they vote for Democrats. And then, ultimately, because of the population concentration, the sheer numbers, there's just more people in smaller areas, the sheer numbers, they win by popular vote. So
it'd be like, Wyoming, the election has been canceled because nobody cares. Idaho, right? It'd be a 10-state election.
Right.
That'd be it.
People just give up. Yeah, Idaho, we have no. Yeah. What's the point? We can't.
Iowa, you're done.
Our vote means nothing.
Right.
So
you don't even, what? It costs too much money to let you guys vote anyway. We got a budget deficit. We'll just skip you guys. We'll get you next time. Of
course, now, running for president may be like trying to get the job to skipper the Titanic across the ocean. So who would want to do it? And why? Donald Trump cares about America. And when you read the things, he's a racist, There was a song that I played here that Jason played. I think I asked him to do it. Randy Newman, Baltimore. I think I did it on one of my shows. It's an old one. I've yet to hear anyone play it, but it was a song written in the 70s about how messed up Baltimore is. And to just go, hey, Baltimore's a horrible place. It's no secret. The liberals have robbed it blind. The rats are running everywhere. And, I mean, they just did it. Channel 8 or PBS just did a whole thing on all the rat infestations, and the president brings it up, and he's a racist.
Well, so who was, I forget who the guy in the House that represents that Baltimore district, they actually had him on tape and one,
saying the same thing.
The exact same thing like 4 years ago, I mean, literally the exact same thing.
And he's an African American, so I guess that
it's okay then.
That makes him a racist. So now you've got. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to address. The tragedies over the weekend.
Well, that was Trump's fault too.
Yeah, I mean, but again, white supremacist. I mean, you see Cory Booker and everybody who comes out that these. I don't even know what to call them, the scum of the earth.
They actually have invented this. I mean, there's a few out there, right? We know there's a few out there, but this thing is they're a dying breed. They got to be loving it, right? They got to be.
I mean, it's just nuts. So I mean, it wasn't. I mean, the first thing on the Sunday morning news magazines, but of course, the one guy said he wanted to kill Mexicans, right? So somewhere there's a manifesto. I didn't see it. I mean, I don't know where it came from, and nobody really even knows. Is it fake news? Maybe. Have you ever been to a Walmart, near the Mexican border? They said there was 3,000 people in the store. If you're waiting to check out, who wouldn't want to shoot them? No, I'm just sorry. But
that's how I felt at Dick's the other day. No,
but anyway,
that's a great question.
Yeah, it's nuts. So the vilification of the white people is going to be an election pillar coming up here next year. And but it's interesting. If you look, try to find the names or the derivations of all the shooters. Very hard. Very hard to find. So they're saying, of course, it's all white kids. Anyway, the show can only get better from here. We'll be back. Yeah, Randy Newman, Baltimore. Jason, you ain't lost your touch, brother. That's for you, Elijah Cummings. I'm surprised nobody has played that song because it starts out a beat-up little seagull on a marble stair. Oh, yeah. Anyway, you're listening to Patriot Radio News Hour. Hamburger helper Eric Cedarstrom sitting in. And where are we going? Oh, we were going to the shooting tragedies, man. I mean, I don't know what you can say. And what can you do? Now they want to, somehow try to figure out a way to legislate that if you think somebody's nuts, that you got to step in and, make sure they can't get guns. And they want to bring back being able to lock people up again. You forget about that.
That's what they used to do.
They used to be able to lock you up. So, and I mean, I used to hear some stories years ago.
The padded walls and all the horrors there.
Well, I know a guy got locked up who owned a gas station and a very successful business in a small town. I mean, there's the story. And this was in the 40s and 50s, and the sheriff was dating his wife. So they locked him up, sold the house, sold the gas station, sold everything while he was locked up. Got the judge to declare him nuts. Nothing you can do. By the time he got out, he had nothing left. So I don't know how you do it. But obviously there's one common denominator that nobody, and I mean nobody, really wants to discuss. And the opioid crisis, they call it. But I want to know if you could get the medical records of every one of these shooters and find out what medication is the most common that runs through these kids. Because this goes all the way back to Norm Resnick on this station, who was the first guy to stand up against Big Pharma. He actually saved my youngest daughter's life because they said she was autistic because she didn't speak till she was 3. And then, of course, she's going to need all this medication, and we almost did it. I didn't know any better. And Norm Resnick, I heard him, we got to talking about it, and he made a huge platform that ADD was made up. These were made-up diseases by Big Pharma. They're going to just take an entire generation, they take the masses and drug them up so nobody's got to deal with them. This is what's happened. Now they call it the opioid crisis. But these are the people that are now adults that have been drugged up since they were kids. And then, what happens? You get hurt or you need something, or now you got a painkiller on top of the opioids, and now you're drinking. And, it's just crazy what's happened to society.
Well, you think about it. If you've had to take a pill your whole life, what's another pill? Right?
Right. So
what's
you just
another one?
Start piling them in.
Right?
It is just tragic. So here we got an entire society, and I don't know. My daughter's college graduates. I talk to them, and these kids are all on medication. They're on antidepressants. And I said to the one gal, I said, well, let me ask you. Let's say now you got a college degree. This was years ago. I go, you got a college degree. And by the way, they don't hide it. You can just ask them. It's so accepted in society that they all stand there.
Well, they compare.
These are, college. What are you taking? What are you taking? What are you taking? And I got in the middle.
How many milligrams?
I got in the middle of a conversation. Here's a beautiful young lady, sharp as a tack, medicated on something for depression, with a college degree in her purse. And I said,
good
well, what?
Job,
right. I said, what happens if you get your job, if you meet your dream husband and you get your dream home? Hey, are you still going to need depression pills? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never going to get off them. So.
Interesting.
Just crazy. So, this is a whole society. So now what do you do? So if you find that, I guess if you're on medication and, if you're the entire generation, they said the problem, I heard this on Fox News the other day, that the economy is running great. The boomers, everybody's happy except the millennial men, the males, men, boys, whatever. So they're not participating in any of this. And I wonder how much of it is medication, video games. You hear the president say, we got to tone down video games. So you've got this problem that's really a symptom of something else.
It's like I said yesterday, when I was growing up, you got home from school, first thing you did was change out of your school clothes into your play clothes. Second thing you did is you got your butt outside.
Absolutely.
So, and you didn't sit in the house. Get outside. It wasn't a question, right? My mother wasn't asking my opinion. My butt was going to be outside with everybody else. And guess what? Everybody else's parents, their butt was outside. But again, you know what? The kids don't go outside. The parents are busy working, right? No one knows what they're doing up there.
And they're connected. One of the things that growing up, all of us older folks, is we were alone. We had no phones, Parents left you alone. Nobody hovered. You were on your own.
Outside, and
right.
We had one rule. It was real simple. Dinner was at 6.
Right, get back. Street lights go on.
Your butt's at home.
So you could burn ants, start fires.
I did all that stuff.
Play with lawn darts.
Hurl rocks at your little brother and call them grenades. Right. You did all that stuff.
Hit pop bottles with baseball bats. All things that, what could go wrong? Remember the wood burning kits? Every younger brother has a burn mark somewhere.
Go in the garage, get the gas from the lawnmower, put it in a coffee can, get some June bugs, and light them on fire. Who didn't do that?
These are all things they don't do now. So, if they go outside, they go out with their telephone. So I don't know. These are all things. Can you put the genie back in the bottle? Can you unlearn all this? I don't think you can.
I don't think so.
Was this part of the, the 7 objectives of the Illuminati and the Communist Manifesto, about drugging people up and taking over everything? I don't know. Certainly seems to be coming to fruition, doesn't it? And the one guy who's trying to save and put America back, the president, is the entire press, top to bottom, hates him.
It's the most hated man ever. I've never seen anything like it.
Remember I said you could elect Mr. Rogers and everybody would hate him? And they're doing a Mr. Rogers movie.
Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Did you see that? So they must be listening. You never know who's listening. Because I think I said, and I don't know for a fact, but I believe I read somewhere that he was a war hero. So we'll find out. They must have made the movie for one reason. So when the movie comes out, we'll find out. So I think he was a great patriot and a great man. And, let's face it, he just wants to be
Your neighbor.
Your neighbor. That would freak me out.
That guy's weird.
What's he doing now? Oh, he's putting on a sweater and some slippers again. I think he's coming over. Final segment. We'll be back. Hey, Hamburger Helper here, sitting in. Eric Cedarstrom. Joe is, he looks a little stressed out, tired today.
I'm resty.
That's hard, man, to do this all the time. So nobody knows it better than me. Wendy came in and said that Mr. Rogers had to wear a sweater because he was all tatted up. So I Googled it. It says since at least the 90s, urban legends circulated claiming Mr. Rogers, a.k.a. late Fred McFeely Rogers, host of the children's television show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was a Marine sharpshooter. Some even claim the television personality, known for his colorful sweaters, notched as many as 150 kills during the Vietnam War and wore tattoos on his arm to prove it. The viral rumor is false.
That is not true. That's fake news.
Yep, it's fake news. So, anyway, well, hopefully when the movie comes out, don't wait for the book. So
there you go.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is going to be Mr. Rogers.
How'd that happen? Remember when he was playing dressed as a woman in that TV show?
Who's some buddies?
Yeah. So what do we got here? We got gold. That's right. That's what Patriot does. So.
What we do, gold's up 1471. 1 ounce American Gold Eagles at $29 right now over spot at $1,500.
$29 over for an American. We can't say. Well, you can say Eagle. An Eagle
American
disc.
Eagle
Don't
disc.
say American.
Yeah, right. For a disc of gold.
Minted by the U.S. Treasury. That has to offend somebody.
Yeah, that's got to be offensive.
So
legal, lawful, constitutional tender. That's offensive.
How's that possible?
Pretty much, we got the offensive 1 ounce American Gold Eagle for $1,500 today at 800-951-0592. The Dow cannot make up its mind if it wants to recover from the beat down from yesterday. Currently, right now, though, it is up 75 points.
Beat down. I love it. That's what it's crazy. It's down 960 at one point yesterday. Yeah. But again, you know, the liberals want stocks to go down.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's never been this way in history.
Is it a big thing? Are they trying to get the Federal Reserve to help them crash the markets and all that stuff? I mean, because that press conference last week, I can't get over how bad it was.
For the first time in history, the liberals want equities to drop. They want to be able to come into the election and go, look, the economy's all messed up.
They don't have a good candidate. That's what they need something.
Right. The only thing they're going to be able to point at is go, look, gold's $2,500 an ounce. They're going to run it. They're buying the spiders. You see the trading volumes in the paper? Now, liberals aren't much for the to actually hold physical gold, but they'll buy the paper and the computer gold.
Well, ETFs are flying, yeah, the gold ETFs.
And the trading volumes, watch them go by on your ticker. You guys got, CNBC, can never buy coins. That's what that stands for. Watch the ticker go by. So just every other tick is a gold fund. So this is what happens. But, just simple economic cycles. They used to run 7 years. This one's run longer than just about anyone. So
I think it's the longest now.
Yeah.
I know it was the second longest for a while, but I think it's either the second or the first.
And Bitcoin. Liberals love Bitcoin. How does Bitcoin get to $11,000? But gold's how much? All right.
1471.
How does a gold electronic coin that they put up on the screen? It's gold. All right. It's always gold. Gets to $11,000, but physical gold can't do it. Well, you wait. When this really does go, and this is the perfect storm, take the time to add to your portfolio so Joe and his wife and kids do not move in with me.
800-951-0592. Please call. Please.